Long overdue, Joe, and under some crazy circumstances to say the least. Me and Joe are back. Joe, let's let some people get in here. There's a lot going on, so what we aren't gonna do is waste too much time. Uh, we have a free agency recap. We're gonna talk about it, Joe Rod. A lot of people have asked for my thoughts. I'm pretty sure you've touched on some of these things. So now I wanted to bring you into the fold because this is our time of year, but the free agency cycle. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You guys coming in? Can you guys hear me? What's up, Dirk? Uh, Shout out to all y'all in the chat boxes. We got to talk about it. It is what it is. Get the super chats rolling. Let's really talk. There's a lot going on. Um, our time of the year, Joe, is draft season, but obviously the free agency cycle is the wild, wild west. So, Joe,
Yeah.
let's talk, man. What are you? We're gonna dive in, Joe. First of all, how you doing? Before I'm just how rude of me. How you doing, bro?
Doing great. Doing great. Just kind of processing all the Cowboys news like everybody else. Just trying to see where we go.
Yeah, it's really been. I wouldn't. I can't remember an off season like this. I will say every time that I'm not gonna say panic, but every time that I feel like it's gonna be a disaster, then it ends up being the opposite. So I don't know if that's gonna work like that this time, but we'll see. Now, Joe, um, you said you're doing good. One thing I will say, Joe has been on top, and we'll talk about Lyle Collins. We're gonna talk about all the free agents, but Joe has been on top of the demise of this offensive line for about 3 years now. So you guys have to kind of stay like one thing that if you're gonna rock with my channel, this is the guys on truth. It's not fanboy channel over here. If you've been listening and you've been keeping abreast, you know that I've kind of fallen out. I've been falling out of favor with guys like Lyle Collins. Tape hasn't been good. Couldn't get on the field over Terrence Steele. Had a year. Me and Joe documented this. Go back and watch. Just a year, just didn't play. Basically, missed 21 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So, and that's when it will hit. So, some of these things we kind of try to prepare you guys for. Joe, let's start with the big one. Amari Cooper is no longer a Cowboy. Thoughts, Joe?
It's gonna be it's it is what it is. It's the number one receiver here in Dallas. So now it's we'll see what they do. Is Amari a number one? I think a lot of us believe that he is, but now it's going to be put into practice. Now we're going to get it confirmed or not. You know what I mean? And that's just the way the season is going to go. But the compensation, I didn't think it matched. You know what I mean? We see a lot
That's
of
fair.
receivers right now getting paid big money, and Amari's contract matches the talent. So I didn't really buy the whole, it's the contract, fifth rounder, it matches. Like, no, that's BS. We got fleeced right there. So I myself didn't like the trade there, but Cowboys are going to do what they're going to do. They don't care what the fans really think, honestly.
Yeah, I think Joe's spot on with that one. So is Amari Cooper last year? I think he was an 800-yard receiver, I believe. Joe, year before that, really good numbers. Year before that, excellent numbers. Is he a $20 million a year receiver at this moment? No, but you don't feel great about having Amari Cooper. So it's a couple things for me. I was very consistent, and a lot of people try to change my mind. People that I debate with, me and Vox went at it a couple times, and then people started coming around about Kellen Moore, and I was very consistent that I don't like. We have to understand this that Kellen Moore is one of the last um, Garrett Linehan disciples. Like he's the direct It's those guys. That's who
Yeah.
he learned under coaching. And so those guys are going to be in the back of his head, and I just don't think that they had a real plan. And I don't think that they had a simplistic approach to these three receivers, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup before he got hurt, and then Cedric Wilson, who you lost as well. And so I thought that Dallas overcomplicated a lot. I thought that, I it's good that he's gone. Unfortunately, you only got the fifth. Was it the fifth, right, Joe? You only got the fifth back for him. But he was worth more. So you are right about that. But I just don't know. And it sucks. It sounds like this, but I don't know if Dallas had the plan or the wherewithal to use all three of those guys. Do you agree with that, Joe? Or
No, with Kellen Moore. You know what I mean? I honestly think that Amari's going to do well in Stefanski's system. I mean, we'll see what happens with Mayfield. Like, they got their own crazy drama going over there, but I feel confident that Stefanski will utilize that skill set. You know, he did it with Thielen, with Diggs when he was there, with Minnesota. So it's I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's time to move on. It sucks. We got the anger out. So, but this is what the Cowboys are. You know what I mean? This is what Stephen Jones is. You know what I mean? He's running the team.
yeah, totally, Joe, you've done it. I don't think there's anybody on YouTube. I would say Joe and Sky do the best job of preparing you guys for stuff like this. And this is, I'm going to put this on the screen. This is what me and Joe do. Okay, so we don't go on Twitter and go super crazy. I know sometimes we'll have some fun, but I'm not going to go, because the truth is we're going to love the team. Do we love the moves? No, but I'm never not going to be a fan of the team. But we're trying to make sense of stuff. All right, Joe, moving forward. So then you come back and you lose. So you sign Dalton Schultz. You lose Amari Cooper. You lose Cedric Wilson to Miami, which, okay. There's guys on the back end of the roster. I thought that Dak liked Cedric Wilson a little too much for my liking anyway. Like, I like Cedric Wilson. He was a definite upgraded Terrence Williams, but I don't think that that's a huge deal. You signed Michael Gallup. Let's talk about that, Joe. That was, to me, the one that I'm like, okay, I love Michael Gallup, but he's gonna start the year on PUP.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll even be ready for training camp. That's a risk.
Yeah, it's a big time risk. It's a 5-year deal. You know, basically it's a 2-year. You know, he won't see the 5 years. He got the guaranteed money, 2 years. They'll do what they did to Gallup. I mean, they're going to do what they did to Amari to Gallup here in 2 years. So this is the framework. They have that 3rd year escape hatch where they can, you know, get out of it. They'll eat some of the money and they'll move on. So you got a window there. You got this season and next season, and then, you know, they'll start over there again. So,
and I want to be clear, Michael Gallup, the player, is really good. So I don't want anybody to think or to feel or to, Michael Gallup can play. I think he's a perfect 2. He has experience, and you drafted him, and we know what Dallas feels about players that they drafted. The problem is this, Joe. He hasn't been healthy. So I just, and again with Kellen Moore, I think that he's overthought a lot of these athletes and their play style. And it's clear that they are banking on CeeDee Lamb to have a huge jump. And let's hope that they have plans to now simplify the offense. And the offense needs to really run through CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard next year. Like, those need to be your 2-1, your 1-2 options. Because why? Because they can.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I agree 100%. They gotta get Pollard rolling. It can't be, well, we're paying Zeke all the money, so we're just gonna roll him out with a spare tire and hope for the best. They if they really want to win, they gotta get Pollard involved. And that's what I'm scared about. I'm not.
feature him.
I don't have confidence in Kellen Moore featuring him, like you said. Like that's what we should have done this year. They didn't do it. So hopefully they'll learn from it. McCarthy says he wants to get more involved. I think he's going to have to. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny because as April says, she needs our level-headed thoughts. That's what we're gonna give you, April. And then the truth is, you can win. You can win big games with. I do think the CeeDee Lamb is a one. I'm not going to renege on thoughts that I've had about CeeDee Lamb since the time we drafted him. I think that his ceiling is higher than Amari Cooper's and Michael Gallup's. That's been the talk. It's going to be on this staff, though, to put together a scheme that features CeeDee Lamb as a one, and that is on the staff. That's not on the fans. I've been consistent that when you drafted him, he was a one. He fell. There's going to be some good receivers that fall, and we'll get to that, Joe. But he's a one, and I think that, feature correctly. I went back and watched the Bucks game, Joe, and he just had some juice that just a lot of players don't have, man. And I get the drops or whatever. Had some bad drops, but guys, Jamar Chase led the league in drops, and the truth is, in the preseason, people were calling Jamar Chase a bust. And with the Bengals' bad offensive line, what did the Bengals do? Quick game to Jamar Chase and made it happen. Joe, flipping to the defensive side of the ball, you signed D-Law. D-Law says that he was on the verge of leaving this team because of Stephen Jones being cheap. And then out of nowhere, I'm doing a backflip because I think that you re-signed Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
And then you don't. Because Randy Gregory says no, and there's language in the contract. Joe, what are your thoughts?
That I think this is where the fan base kind of just was like fed up with it because it was a debacle. You know what I mean? Bobby Belt and Pat Walker did a really good breakdown as far as the behind the scenes, as far as like how the contract was constructed, where it fell apart. So go check that out.
Can you give us an overview, Joe, for those of people who haven't? Because I haven't even. I purposely didn't watch or read a lot of content because I wanted to have my own thoughts on the whole situation.
Yeah,
so just give me a breakdown.
I mean, it's kind of a long. They did a really good job. I would actually just recommend going to 105.3 The Fan and go check out the story there. They both break it down really well. But basically, they had a deal in place, and Jerry got involved, got on the phone, and we've heard DeMarcus Lawrence say that before as well. Jerry got on the phone, made his first contract go through because of Jerry. So similar kind of deal, and was it Stephen Jones that tried to sneak in this language? Probably. And they just Gregor's camp just wasn't about it. They're like, hey, we're not going to do that. We're moving on. So you can't blame the player, man. I myself, I don't blame Gregory on this at all. I think it's a bumbling of the front office, and they have a history of it. I mean, look what they're doing right now. It's they're getting black eye after black eye, man. So I'm with the players. I'm with the players on this. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So I heard something the other day, Joe, and I want your thoughts on it. Randy Gregory with no suitors. Yeah. You can sneak this. But Randy Gregory, who put a lot of good film on tape this year.
Mm-hmm.
Randy Gregory with basically 2 years of being clean and locked in can say no. Not gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, in the contract, you said you liked. I liked it too. I said, this is, again, it was going to be a 5, but probably a 2 because of the age and this sort of thing. But still, you're going to get good quality snaps. Edge doesn't it's not a high priority in the draft. Now with this, it is. In my opinion, it's a top round, top 3 round, priority now.
It changes some things, Joe. And your opinion matters. That's why you're on it. I mean, the draft, and you do a great job of jumping, locking in of kind of like what Dallas is looking for. Now you have D-Law, you have Micah Parsons. Me personally, I don't want to see Micah Parsons um, pigeonholed to one position. I don't think it's fair to the player. I don't think it's fair to the team. Now, Micah is one of these guys who's on Twitter. I know he sees and reads everything because that's just what this young generation does. So I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
going to be interested to see how they maneuver that. And the one thing about the guy is an ultra competitor. He will set the market, and I think he'll be fine. But it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, Joe. So we got through the free agent news. Guys, super chat, super chat, super chat. Keep it going. Thank you guys so much for the love. Is there any other nuggets that I'm missing, Joe, before we get to the draft and how this all affects the draft and what are we looking for and players we're looking for in the whole nine?
I would just say this. This really is the pattern of Stephen Jones. You know what I mean? And there's still some other notoriety players out there with name recognition, and even myself. I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind have, you know, uh, you know,
Dante Fowler types.
Zadarius. I wouldn't mind having him. I liked him going all the way back to the Shrine game. I thought he was a player there, made his way into the NFL, found a good niche as a pass rusher specialist. He reneged on his offer with
Baltimore.
Baltimore, right? So this has been one of the craziest offseason. There's a lot of I call it the QB transfer portal this year because
Yeah.
all the quarterbacks are going crazy. It's I've never seen this before, but
Totally. I mean, yeah, Baker wants
Baker,
out.
yeah,
The Browns openly tried to trade for Watson and lost out. It looks like I don't know if is it final that he's going to Atlanta.
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers gets paid and loses his best receiver, which I
Yeah,
don't care. Go
yeah.
make Valdez Scantling or whatever, Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers, make him great.
It'll be
Um,
Olave. Dane Brugler tweeted that it'll be Chris Olave because they're going to get the Raiders #1, right? So
yeah.
breaking my heart,
Yeah,
Dane. I agree.
I was going to talk about that because, I actually want to start a war with a few draft friends, Jeff and Botch, and then we're going to do it. And I want you guys to go tag Botch and tell him that I'm starting a war because I heard them disrespecting Chris Olave and I didn't like it. Yeah, but anyway, so I mean, Russell Wilson's in Denver. Seattle's now apparently in on Baker. It's just a lot,
You got Wentz back in the NFC East. I do like that. So
Yeah,
that's one of the better news nuggets of the last couple of days, right? So
yeah, he already looked stressed at his press conference.
Parsons is going to
So
feast on him.
oh yeah, it'll be in some of the reports that came out of the Colts camp was one of the big reasons why they decided to let Wentz go is because he's not a leader.
Yeah, heard that.
I mean, for whatever you do want to say about Dak, you do know that you have a leader in Dak, and it's going to be interesting. All right, Joe, moving right along because we're on fire. Can everybody give us a fire emoji because we're knocking it out the park, and this is why This is why I wanted to wait, Joe. I can't speak for you, but I wanted to wait because I wanted to make sure that we got our thoughts in order. Because I think what happens so many times, guys. Yeah, get the fire emojis going, y'all. Fire emojis, y'all. We got 97 people watching. We're lit. Fire emojis, light the fire. I think what happens so many times, Joe, is that people rush to these. I wouldn't say conclusions, but these proclamations when stuff like this happens. And the truth is, free agency isn't over. Are we getting a big name? Probably not. Zadarius Smith could still be in play. Bobby Wagner could still be in play. A few others could still be in play. But Dallas has never been the first day of free agency players, at
Mm.
least not the last 5 years. And yes, it worked for the Rams and it worked for a couple other teams, but it's also been really, really bad for a couple. Um, Dallas believes and has done a great job in the draft. And I want to say this. Somebody said on Twitter they only got, I think it was what's his name? Somebody quoted me and was like, you know, Dallas only Joe, they only got two immediate contributors. I said, well, hold on, wait a minute. What? Time out. If you're telling me that you get two contributors in a draft, you have a promising player in Jabril Cox who, when he played, showed you flashes that you know he's going to be something, and then a Kelvin Joseph. That's four eventual starters in this draft because of what Osa was able to give you. Because let's not forget, Neville just wasn't available, Joe.
Yeah.
And Osa gave you this. That's a good draft. That's a great draft. And Dallas drafts well. So I'm just saying, let's not, like, I've always believed if you get a starter and two contributors in a draft, that's a B plus draft. You get two starters and two contributors, that's an A draft. So the draft does still hold weight, huh, Joe?
Yeah, and this is what I was thinking about today, and how I see it is, while I think they do draft really well with the draft, I think you still have to sprinkle in, um, you have to be good at GMing the team, whether it's trading a player while they have value, you know what I mean? Jimmy Johnson was great at that, right? He was great at getting Charles Haley in here, getting rid of Herschel Walker, making trades, free agency, and this sort of thing, plan B, back in the day. So, uh, uh, talent acquisition, I think, is they still struggle with it. I do like Will McClay, but we have had some free agent classes where they were complete utter disasters. 2020 comes to mind. Uh, you know what I mean, with Griffin and all these guys, Don Terry Poe. So it's risky. So they struggle there, but the draft, they at least they have that, right? So they can improve, but they gotta hit on a lot of these guys, and that's a lot of pressure, because if you're only getting one or two guys out of these draft classes when you have a bunch of holes, it's asking for a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And this is what I want to ask you too, Joe. Super chat here. Going by Owen, then we'll get to the other one. Keep the super chats rolling, y'all. Thank you. J Ron out, McQuamu in. So wait, is J Ron? I think the Cowboys are trying to keep J Ron.
There's a lot of speculation in that right now. He's being, cryptic. Somebody said that he removed the Cowboys from his Instagram. So I don't know if that's true, but there's all kinds of rumors floating around right now.
That would hurt as well. He came right in, but in the day, I don't know where Dallas values safety. Um, we'll have to see. But you know what, Joe? Let's look at it. I think that J Ron, I think that McQuamu can be something. And let's let's be real. J Ron did have his best year with Quinn. He was kind of just a special teams ace and just a guy other places. So maybe they do feel like they can create another J Ron Carson. Not like he was a perennial Pro Bowl before he got here, but he played a role and he played it well. So got to give the player some credit as well. So bargain basement, and you trust the draft so much. What have we done to trust just the draft? That lightning in a bottle, can't rely on that. Okay, so let's talk about it. Um, Leighton Van Der Esch was drafted when was that 2018, Joe? 2019.
2018.
2018. He was a really good rookie, not Micah Parsons esque. That was the Connor Williams draft, a few others.
Schultz.
Schultz.
Michael
So
Gallup.
just got another contract. Gallup just got another contract. So Dallas drafts well. Obviously the Tristan Hill draft sucked. 2020 you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Tony Pollard in that draft, Joe? Or was that Tristan Hill draft?
Pollard was a fourth rounder in
The
20.
Tristan Hill draft.
Man, I don't remember. It might have been that one. Can't tell on the top of my head on that one.
The point is Dallas will have a year or two where they clunk, but for the most part, Dallas drafts well and they get immediate contributions out of their picks. I'm not saying that the draft is the end all be all, but I think that when we have holes, they do a good job of filling them and bringing them in. Now they could strike out this year. It happens. All right, Joe, because I don't want to hold you too long. Let's talk about needs and position of need. Joe, first round. I'm putting you on the spot because I'm gonna do it myself. What position are we drafting? And then give me 3 pet cats at that position for you in the first round range. We're gonna do this for the first 3 rounds. This is what the people want.
Yeah. So for first round, I'm still sticking with O line. You know what I mean? I know we have the Randy Gregory deal here, but I think that might be a second round. But first round still O line. You got still at starting at your right now. Zach Biadish upgradable. Left guard is wide open right now. If you had to play a game today, it's McGovern at left guard. I don't want that. So get me Zion. If it's Kenyon Green, give me one of those two guys. Linderbaum, if he's available, that's an upgrade. And you probably double dip on offensive line. If you get Linderbaum in the first, you can get a decent guard, a good guard, actually, not decent. You can get a good guard.
Yeah.
I would say up to the fourth is probably the cutoff. So offensive line, first round for me, Foots.
Okay, and give me your Linderbaum. Who else is one of your cats?
Linderbaum, offensive line. I like Zion. He's kind of jumped over Kenyon for me. I think he's just a lot stronger, more athletic. I think he fits a little bit better with what we're going to do if we want to keep pulling and doing these types of things, with play action, this sort of thing. Bootlegs with Dak. You got to have athletic offensive linemen to sell it. You know what I mean? If you have a big lumbering guy who's having difficulty, and I'm not saying Kenyon Green's that, but you know what I'm saying? Like as good as Ron Leary was, he was one of these bigger type of guys who wasn't athletic, and I don't know. I think the Cowboys, that's kind of what they want: the athletic tackles, Steele, Tyron Smith, these types of guys, Zach. So those are my main guys. Other guys that I like there at that position, outside of offensive line, I'm a big fan of Daxton Hill and coverage. You know what I mean? I think he's versatile in what they want to do as far as like a nickel cover guy, or can give you safety flex as well. And Traylon Burks obviously is going to be in the mix. My only concern there is, like what we said earlier, Foots, you got to have a plan for the guy. You know what I mean? I don't think he's just a run down the field guy. Maybe because he's not that. He was a jack of all trade kind of guy. They lined him up all over the place at Arkansas. People compare him as the next Debo, a bigger one, obviously. Would Kellen Moore do this? Would he be able to utilize that skill set? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They like him. I've said this on my channel. John Stephen Jones, backup QB at Arkansas, grandson of Jerry Jones, likes him. So that might carry some weight. You know what I mean? Given firsthand background on the player. So Traylon Burks, I think, is there. Chris Olave, I love him. That would be my guy, but I just don't think he's going to make it to 24. I would be shocked if he did, but it could happen. You know what I mean? So those are my main guys. Defensively, I love Jordan Davis. I just know that the Cowboys don't hold value on a 2 down type of player like that. But I think he'll affect the running game, can collapse the pocket, and he can chase down running backs. I mean, the guy is amazing. I don't see him making it to 24. You know what I mean? So those are guys that I like. But offensive line, I think, is where the bread and butter is going to be for the Cowboys this year.
Okay, Joe, you hit, man. And Joe knocked offensive line out of the park right there. I think that, man, Kenyon Green would definitely be my pick. But for my pet cat in the first round in the position that I'm going to go with, and it's not because it's the position that I think the Cowboys would draft, but it's the position I mean, not the position that I would draft, but it's the position I think that the Cowboys are going to draft. It's because they lost Cedric Wilson and Michael Gallup is not going to be healthy to start the year. I do think that they are going to draft a receiver in the first round. And I do think that it's going to be a receiver that maybe may not even have a first round grade like a Pickens, or because Chris Olave is going to be gone. And I want to tell Jeff and Vach, and I'm going to send this, I'm going to speak loud into the mic. If you guys ever disrespect Chris Olave, like you guys did the other night on the show, it was a great show, by the way. Don't ever do that, fellas. Y'all tag Vach and tell him that I'm coming for him. Because Olave is that dude, man, like super smooth. And I'm actually not high on Traylon Burks. I didn't like his testing. I think he's a great athlete. I don't see great route running, and I think that people in the NFL, I think that people get enamored with these college athletes who are just running down the field against future doctors and dentists. But the problem with Burks is, like, Laviska Shenault and all of these guys who you hear it every year, he can do so much after the catch, blah, blah, blah. Well, NFL OCs don't do a good job with that because, first of all, rookie wide receivers have a tough time adapting to the NFL. And the ones who normally do are normally guys like a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase was so special. People gotta understand. Jamar Chase is a 4.3, 4.4 athlete, 40-inch vertical. Traylon Burks is not. So while it looks good, and he has some good film, but these corners in the league are too advanced, Joe. You know that.
Yeah.
And they beat you up, man. I think somebody like J-Mo Wilson could get drafted. He would be one of my pet cats. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson are my two pet cats. I'm staying away from Drake London and Traylon Burks. And another guy, Joe, who I think that Dallas could really and is like pretty much a Chris Olave 1A is Jahan Dotson, who nobody's talking about right now. But a really good route runner, really good feet. Play Big Ten football. Jahan Dotson can play. Second round grade, but if you get wiped out at 24 and you have to have receiver, because this guard class is better than I thought. And I'm not out on Drake London. I think that for what you have in CD, you don't need that type of receiver. For what you have at CD and Michael Gallup, you need a quicker route running type who's going to get open, who's going to find spots. And I think that Dotson, Sky Moore, I don't see him going in the first round, but you never know. May have to draft him around early if you love him.
Yeah.
So my cats, staying on topic, Joe, my cats will be Dotson, both the Ohio State receivers. Oh, by the way, Joe, they really have Ohio State has some good receivers because even their receivers that are playing next year are going to be really good as well. Marvin Harrison Jr. Forget the other kid's name, but anyway.
Let me ask you this, Foots. Let me ask you this real quick. All right,
those are my pick cats.
We're at 24. If Olave is falling a little bit, do they do a Des Bryant type of deal where they move up to get the guy they want, the wide receiver? Do you see that as a possibility? We know the Cowboys have stayed pat a lot of the time, but does that happen? Would you do that? Would you trade a third to move up a couple spots if you saw Olave there?
I think they would. Dallas is going to draft a receiver high this year.
I like the Ohio State receivers myself too, Foots. I'm a fan of Olave. I think he hits the soft spots in the zone coverage, speed,
Yep.
athletic, his feet. I don't see
Many
him
holes.
in the big holes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Drake London. I'm out on him too. He's on the floor too much. He's
Yeah.
going to be one of these guys that you're not sure if he's going to be week to week injuries. I don't want that, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. I
Yeah.
don't want that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man. Chris Olave for me, when you're that clean at everything, I'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I love Chris Olave, and I just see Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson came in the league and just blew the league up because he was such a good route runner. He was reliable. He was where he was supposed to be, and those are the guys who, when he could create separation with his feet. These corners are too good. You're not going to bully them. You have to do the little things to get open. And I think that's what Chris Olave and Garrett will do well. So anyway, Joe, those are our first round. Let's talk about second round, Joe. Thoughts, position groups, and pet cats. Who do you like?
Second round for me, we're probably if we go offense, whether it's a receiver or O line, which I think they're going to do. I think second round for me, you got to take a look at linebacker. You know, maybe there's an edge guy there that you can throw into the mix. People say edge goes deep, but while I think it does kind of stretch a little bit, the quality wanes significantly. You got your top flat guys in the first round. Second round, you're looking at, tweener type of dudes, this sorts of things. So 56 for an edge, who might be there? Um, you know, maybe Boye Mafe might be there, but
Maybe.
he's one of the last ones too that you might be at the back of the first round, early second. So it's gonna get kind of hairy there if you're chasing a defensive end. You know what I mean? But I like linebacker in the second round for me. And then you might want to look at D line. Like I said, maybe you get your defensive tackle. If you don't go O line in the first round, second round, there'll be some options there. I'm a big fan of Parnham out of Memphis. I think he's not getting talked about enough. Amazing combine, power, strength, athletic, can do everything the Cowboys want to do, to run that offense. I like him a lot.
You
Ed
talking about
Ingram,
the Memphis guard?
yeah. Ed
Yeah,
Ingram
I
is
got
another
I
one.
got into him, Joe. I'm gonna watch some more film. He is good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good, and those guys know how to run. Memphis, they got a lot of speed on the field, and they execute really well there. I think he comes in pretty polished. I'm a big fan of Parham. So those are just a couple of names that I would think about. Chad Muma obviously is a name. Quay Walker, but I don't know if he's going to last that far.
That's the one.
If you want to get a guy who's like a flex type of linebacker, has the long arms, can give you some pass rush capability. There's some linebackers there. Leo Chanel, if you want an old school linebacker, a second might be kind of early, but somebody's going to fall in love with that player. I mean, he's nasty. So, and who doesn't want that? We talk about the Cowboys needing more edge. Give me these type of players. If it's a throwback type of player with the edge, get it going. Make the defense nasty. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those are a couple guys' foots off the top of my head.
Yeah, I like what you're saying about Quay Walker and that if you can't get a true edge, can you get a guy who can play off ball but who can also blitz so well? Because he does blitz very well. Quay
Yeah.
Walker plays forward very well. That whole Georgia defense. Georgia even has a guard that I was looking at today that could help in that second round range as well. So I like what you're saying about Walker. For me, Joe, I think that if you're going to talk linebacker, then I'll go ahead and talk guard in the second round. I went receiver. Now I think that we come back and go guard because I do think guys like Darius Kennard could help you. I think that there's a lot of this this offensive line class is actually really, really deep. Now, does everybody fit with this team and what we want to do? First, we kind of need to find out what we want to do. But Tyler Smith is another one. If he's hanging around, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's a
Um,
good name out of Tulsa. That's a good one.
yeah, Tulsa lineman who, to me, is one of those guys who, if he cuts down the penalties, plug and play from everything I've seen on film. Let's go.
Yeah,
Because we're not gritty enough up front. So those are kind of like my two pet cats, and that's the position. Now, I will say this. Um, Linebacker is probably the deepest position group, and there's not much separation. And I want to say this. We were very high on Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean might have worked his way out of the first round, and here's why. He hasn't worked out anywhere. Um,
yeah, I
these
didn't like
Georgia,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I just it doesn't make sense, Joe. Nakobe Dean has not worked out. These Georgia athletes all showed out, but him. Um, you have guys like Devin Lloyd who you can make an argument that in certain schemes, Christian Harris would be a better player than Devin Lloyd. And Lloyd
Christian
was
Harris. That's a good one. I like Christian Harris too.
and Lloyd was the consensus one at linebacker early on, but now you just don't know. You have guys like Muma and Anderson who
Yeah,
Anderson is a 4-4 athlete.
yeah,
Career running back, quarterback, goes to the Senior Bowl, lights it up. Does he need to be coached up? Yes, but if you talking team speed, and then Beavers, who I gave Dallas in our last mock draft, Joe, can play off ball, can rush the quarterback, and has that attitude that you're talking about. This linebacker class is loaded. You know, you can even talk about the kid from LSU
Damone Clark, bro.
who's flying up boards, and Dane
Yeah.
Brugler loves him. So anyway, Joe, I went guard, you went backer. Man, we hit a lot of pieces. We hit a lot of players today, Joe. Third round. What are we doing, Joe? What are you doing? What position group? And then we'll wrap up the show.
Just before we get to that, I think another candidate for the second round would be somebody like a George Pickens if he's there.
Yeah.
Cowboys were there, all the big guns were there, so he would be a good one there. I don't know if he'll make it to 56. He might, you know what I mean. He's one of those roll the dice type of
Pickens will
players.
really play.
Yeah, yeah, he would be interesting, very interesting pick. So, but the third round, depending on what you do in the first two rounds, I think this is where you can talk to me about maybe they can get a little beefier here at defensive tackle. If you want, maybe this is where
Different.
maybe a tight end comes in here, or maybe you want to double dip. You know what I'm saying? So double dip is an option if you want to get you another guard. If you went center and you want to get a guard, or if you went guard, maybe you want to look at another type of player. I mean, there's a lot of options. Safety, cornerback. I wouldn't even count that out. I mean, it's a really deep draft class. It really is. I mean, if you wanna go running back, is that too early for third round? I myself look at running back as a fourth and a little bit later, but there's a lot to be had out here.
If the right athletes on the board, you never know.
Yeah, in wide receivers, where does Mechie go? You know what I mean? Does he fall a little bit, and you get a player like that, an amazing route runner, but obviously going to miss some time there with the injury while he recovers. So
He's the one, Joe, that people would be like, no, because of Jalen Smith, and then all he's gonna do is come back and then just be a Pro Bowler year in and year out. Mechie is. I've not seen a player that electric since Tyreek Hill. But
somebody will roll the dice there. It's a matter of Is it the second or is it the third round? You know what I mean? I mean, it would be crazy if he was there in the third. I would snatch him up with that number 88 pick. Could be something there, man.
Dude, he's so electric. He's so dynamic. Um, he's so in control. It's just the injuries.
What do you have your safeties here? You got safety, I think maybe third round, Kirby Joseph. Where do you have Jalen Petrie? Is he a third
I
player?
have
Or do you have
Jalen
him?
Petrie as a late one, early two. I
Okay.
love Petrie's film.
Yeah.
Now, people don't like Petrie as much as me, but I like Petrie because he's really good in the box and he can also cover. So I kind of look like him as just a small linebacker because he plays like that. But he's also very, very smart. Um, I like Petrie Joe. I mean he can run. He didn't run his 40, but he can run.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I have Petrie. Obviously, I have Kyle Hamilton one. People were freaking out about Kyle Hamilton's 40, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, just cut the tape on. He's fine. I mean, if he fell to Dallas, I'd take him over any of these prospects we
Oh yeah,
have.
no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I would take him easily.
Yeah,
I just like the same thing I said with Stingley. I mean, we have good corners, but I would still take Dick Stingley.
yeah.
You
I
know,
just gonna be interested to see where he falls in the draft because I think there's gonna be a little bit of a fall there for him. It's just a matter of where,
yeah,
what I mean. So, but put him in the right team. Somebody, they say that he needs like a mentor type of guy. So maybe a team that has a vet. I mean, the Ravens just screams, to me. Like I think that they would do that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Joe, it's going to be interesting, very interesting, because when you even think about, I mean, you can even say you said the tackle for my third round pick. I went receiver guard. I went receiver guard, but then as I think about it, Joe, you have to attack DN at some point. Even if you brought in another DN, you have to attack DN. So
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to look at safety in this draft because first of all, we know Dallas doesn't value it, but then second of all, the safeties outside of Kyle Hamilton aren't good enough to make you say I have to have a safety. I would probably go edge in the third, some type of a D end, um,
yeah.
who could plan a rotation, I guess.
Yeah, there'll be some guys there. You know what I mean? I think Kingsley, started out hot in mock drafts. I think his stock has kind of fallen in that second and third round area. Kingsley Ngabara out of South Carolina is one of those guys.
Yeah,
DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M. He's a flex guy, but I kind of feel like we already have that type of player with Golston. But
yeah,
still, if you want to add another guy in here, which we're going to need to, right? I know we got Dorrance back, but that's a rotational guy. So need more artillery on the edge. So they might do that. And then, like you said, D line, right? Defensive tackle. I like Ridgeway. I think he's a Kyle Williams type of player who can, push the pocket, stuff the run, and that sort of thing. I think he'll play 10 years in the league. Drawn Ridgeway out of Arkansas. So uh, third round, it's gonna have a lot of options.
oh yeah. And I mean, somebody said this, and I think he had one of the better combines and really blew the combine out is Lewis Singh.
Yeah,
I
I like
like
him.
Petrie's film a little bit better, but
Mhm.
they're the middle. I said this, and we'll end on this, Joe. From the second to mid, let's say second to fifth is a sweet spot of this draft. I think this is one of the years where I don't like the first round talent. Like I don't see even Aiden Hutchinson. I would never take Aiden Hutchinson over Thibodeau. I know what I hear about Thibodeau, blah blah blah, but I
Yeah,
just think that Thibodeau has, he's a first round pick. Aiden Hutchinson is not. I mean, a first overall pick. Aiden Hutchinson is not a first overall pick. One good year of production does not, to me, give you that. You know,
yeah, and that's for both
that
of the
right.
stream guys. You got Ajabo, who's like a 1 year wonder too. So it's like, those are kind of risky. You're kind
Oh
of
yeah.
going on. system fit.
Yeah. Yeah, no long-term film, but yeah, I like what April was saying. Where is a 9 when you need him? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up a little under an hour. Joe, I appreciate you so much for coming on. Plug yourself. Any final thoughts, and then let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, first shout out to the chat box. Great conversations. Keeping the conversation going there with some of the prospects you guys like. Appreciate reading those. But yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. Look me up, Cowboys blog. You can hit me up on Twitter. Keeping it busy there at Cowboys blog net. All right, guys. So appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Foots, for having me on, bro.
Yeah, man, Joe. I think that you just do the best job with the draft as far as digging deep and what Dallas is gonna do. I think some of the other like Vosh does a great job with the film. Jeff is really he's on fire right now. Him and Dane tapped in, but it's still a market for us. And Joe, I think you do the best job with okay, what is Dallas locked in for? What are they really locked in? What are you hearing? Little nuggets. And the truth is, I can't remember a year that Dallas was there was going to be more pressure to draft well.
Oh yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah, you
100%.
can't mess this draft up, Joe.
No, yeah,
can't do it.
Can't.
And so, and I don't think that Dallas will. Now, will they be a better team? That remains to be seen. But it's going to be interesting. So it's your boy Foots. I'm tired. I'm about to fall asleep. No, I better not say that. The chat box will get to me. Nah, but I really had a good time with you, Joe. And the biggest thing is this, guys. The sky is not falling. There is a lot of football left. There's a lot of football moves to be made, and we don't know. Even on draft night, we don't know the plan. I remember when Michael Parsons was picked, we really had no idea that he was going to turn into what he did, and he did. So let's let it play out. So that's for me, Joe. Appreciate you coming on. I can't say that enough. And guys, we'll probably tap back in within a week unless something breaking goes crazy. Then let's leave it on this note. Joe, I love you, man. Too glad to see you all back together. Love is love. Hey, yeah. Stevie Mac, sleepy foots. I'm definitely sleepy. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, I ain't gonna lie about it. Even when I'm tired, I'm gonna push through. I thought I saw another super chat. Oh, appreciate y'all working together, working actually harder than our GM. Yeah, it would be nice if Dallas just paid us like GMs, but we'll fix the team. We'll fix the team one day. It's your boy Foots. Peace.
Peace, everybody. Thank you.